Hi, my name's Lottie and I'm an actor. I have auditioned probably hundreds and hundreds of times now for lots of different projects. So I thought it was about time I take back control and start documenting my honest journey and process, learning to write my own projects I can act in. So making my own work is something that, as an actor especially, but just generally, I've wanted to do for a long time. Like there's certain projects that I love to be cast in, there's certain projects that I love to be made. I have ideas and ideas and ideas, and it would be so fun to be able to make the kind of projects that I really love. However, I think so often so many people get into the narrative of I'm not a writer, these people are writers, but then I realised that what the difference between us is that the people who are writers at some point decided to put stuff on the page, and the people who aren't a writer like just keep saying I'm not a writer all the time rather than actually just writing anything down. So I thought I need to just like grow up and actually try because I could have just that whole time actually just written something and learn how to write. And now I'm working towards really writing stuff and going out there and finding a way to get it made in the way that I want to get it made, like working towards making stuff happen, obviously in a collaborative way, like not being a creative dictator, but just like finding a way to follow through on what I want to do. So if you want to see where I go with this and follow along the journey, then please subscribe. It would be nice to build a little creative community on here. And also the numbers increasing do help me out. So please do that. And I want to take you through the process of me writing my very first short film. And I will have timestamps as well to different sections. So if you want to jump to a specific section of the video, then you're free to do that. So go ahead and do that. But I thought I'd talk about where it all started. So actually, I did write when I was younger. When I was like 12, I was submitting to the like adult script submissions, and I was 12, and they probably didn't know that. And I got feedback saying that scene 5 was plain terrible, and I've taken that to heart ever since and been like, I'm not a writer. Maybe I was just a child. So I feel like that was something that I took on board. And sometimes as well in school, like you have a perception of what you're good at and what you're not good at. And I went to a creative writing group, and I always felt like other people were like naturally better at it than me. And then I sort of like stopped writing. And then last year I went to a few different writing workshops because they were free. So I feel like that was a limited investment. And I thought it would be useful for me as an actor to understand some of the like ways of the writer, when really I could have just put words on a page. But I learned some really interesting stuff there, like different techniques for having characters having distinct voices. Like you can have rules for different characters, like this character maybe has long lines, like they speak a lot of words but they don't really get to the point, or this character's very direct and doesn't like to talk, doesn't like the sound of their own voice, and then that makes each character have a distinct way of speaking, distinct vocabulary. Maybe this character swears loads, maybe one character doesn't. Like those kinds of things make character voices distinct. And I learned about like narrative and like creating visuals as well, and like thinking about the image as a whole and how we move through the story rather than just having something static. And then I thought I should write stuff, and like I had ideas that I wanted to get made, and I was talking about the ideas and people were like, Lottie, it's called show business, not talking business, is what was said to me. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go make it. So I ended up using my creative community. And if you don't have that, I think loads of writers and creative people are willing to talk with you and help you if you reach out to them. So I met up with a writer friend, and here are some of my conclusions as I started to plan my film. So one of the main things I feel like I took away from being able to meet people and speak to people was being able to share what I was concerned about with writing and what parts I would find hard about the process, and be able to find exercises that would help me and like were suited to me, but like would also build my confidence and help me be able to feel confident in approaching a whole script. And I've actually seen a video of someone who wrote in Hollywood, doing some writing and writing a scene, and it's interesting to see that they write the bits that they feel like is clear for them and then like fill in the gaps, because I feel like I was intimidated about the fact that you might have to like write it all in order, but actually you can write the points and the beats that feel clear and then fill in the gaps. And I might link to that video actually below. And also there were some other resources that I found out about over time. There's the Writing Excuses podcast, there's Save the Cat, which is a screenwriting book that apparently is very common and popular, and also Yvonne Grace has written a variety of different books about writing for television and is quite experienced in the area. Then I feel like once I had the script planned out, firstly I was in the mindset of like making short films, so I was thinking of all these different other ideas of films that I could make and how they could be like beneficial and interesting projects, but also I was thinking about the scenes and the plan because it was something that I was actively doing, it was on my mind, which meant that then I just developed the feeling that I wanted to start writing stuff down. And I think lots of people have told me that like it's important to just get a first draft down, and I think it's easy to ignore that or to minimize that idea in your head. But then actually, if you want to assess how to make your writing better, there has to be writing in the first place. I think I was trying to develop an ability to write, whereas really you can't learn until you actually know what your words on a page look like. Like I've had a lot of realizations and a lot of changes in perspective, and I feel like I can't ask for feedback and learn about what my writing style is like and where my personal errors are until there were actually my scripts and my words on a page. So I wrote them down, and then I did it in the end send it out because I was trying to connect with more filmmakers and stuff, and someone offered to read it. But actually there's mixed views about whether or not it's good to send it to industry people too early on. Like everyone's got different views, because some people say like you can see the vision of what you're trying to do even if it is an early draft, and some people say that you should only send like a later more finalized version and that's more professional. So I don't really know. So I got feedback, and I'll cut in now to the feedback and what that taught me, like feedback reflections. So I've got some feedback here, and I thought it was important or potentially valuable to get feedback from people who might be just general members of the public who might end up watching. Although actually I don't know typically who watches a short film. I guess it depends a lot, and a lot of people who watch short films are industry people with the view to potentially work with them on longer projects. So I feel like often the format of short films is very much more a proof of concept, but that's a tangent. And I'm sure that like mine's more of a comedy anyway, so I feel like that would be more shareable and more publicly watched, and sometimes it can have impact depending on the theme, I guess, if there's a very topical short film. But I got feedback from non-industry people and also industry people, and also I think I'm always open to learning and changing, because I think that's just the nature of this, is that if it gets made it will keep changing and changing. And some people not in the industry have given me actually some really valuable feedback. I could credit them, but I don't want them to risk getting stalked or like bothered. Like, who knows who's watching this on the internet? But some of my friends have been like, maybe like names are used too much. Like, I feel like I'm a person who uses people's names like 20 times a day, but not everyone does, and that can be jarring. So just learning different ways to make stuff feel more natural is really important. And also I've got a few different people give me feedback on it which has been helpful industry wise. I think a lot of the feedback that I've had, and I think this applies across the board really in lots of different areas of life, is that lots of different notes and feedback is about clarity. Because I guess even like in marketing, if clarity is not there, then it won't do its purpose. Like if there's not clarity in my script as to the context of the plot, and like if the audience isn't following along, then the jokes won't land. So I think that's something that's important, and I think getting other perspectives on that is really important in making sure that like there's no blind spots where like you haven't realized that actually it might not make sense to someone who doesn't know and isn't in your own head and isn't you. And also sometimes I think the lines, I feel like it's natural dialogue and it's how people would speak, and it might feel natural but it might not fit the context. Like, is this also how someone would react in this scenario? Like if someone's pre-planned something, then they'll probably have more dialogue to say because they've thought about something happening for a long time and they've thought about what they might say. And things elevate as people don't understand us, we escalate and scenes escalate. So learning how to do that is something that's been important for me as well. And also with jokes, like I'm specifically learning to write comedy for this one, and I think each genre will be really different, so maybe that's something that would be useful if I was writing a different genre, to really speak to people who are good and experienced in that genre, because I think writing different genres actually can feel really different. But I think some of the issues that I've got is that like there's a funny concept or a funny setup, or but maybe like the line, like the punchline isn't working hard enough for me, or maybe it doesn't feel grounded enough in truth, or maybe it feels a bit confusing, or maybe it feels too truthful that it actually is uncomfortable to laugh at, and it loses a sense of like offhanded humour, because I think there were funny concepts and points in there, but sometimes you have to be able to refine that and make sure that that's absolutely clear and there's absolute clarity, and then the audience can get what is there in the concept. Because sometimes you can have a good concept and it can be a funny setup, but just it's not working the best and it needs tidying up a bit, I think is how I would describe it. It's been really interesting to make sure that like not only is it natural, but does it fit with the circumstances. Like maybe if this happened, the person would actually kick off a lot more than they actually are in the script, so it might sound natural, but like maybe in life people would be more reactive to that, so it's something to keep in mind. Now where I'm at is a few drafts in, and I think I'm ready to start trying to make it happen and like reaching out to potential collaborators and stuff, because I do think that the people who you work with on the project and like reaching out to people and exploring options for making it can then further develop the project, and you don't want to just be refining a script forever. Like everything can always be better, but it's good to make something and then make something else and then make something else. So that's something that I am thinking about, and I think it was good as well that I talked about writing. As much as like it's good to write, I think something that helped me was something that actually lots of people don't recommend, but is that telling everyone that I'm gonna do it. Like as soon as I had a plan, people were like, do you write? And I was like, from 2 days ago, yes I do, I am a writer now. And I think holding that into account and having that level of accountability towards people that I just told that I was writing something really helped push me through to actually do it. And like I posted to my Instagram story about writing, so then hundreds of people were aware of it. So I think just put that pressure on yourself. Maybe don't. But I feel like having that additional pressure and thinking that like if I don't do this for myself, it won't happen. And I want to be able to trust myself to be able to follow through on doing the things that I want to do. I think it would be so nice to be able to make my own projects and be able to take that round to festivals, be able to send that round to people in the industry to prove that I actually make work. And it teaches you about all sorts of different areas of the industry. And once you feel more and more confident in your ability to make your own projects, it opens a lot of doors, I think. So I will see where we go from here. We should probably definitely get it made, because like I should make a project and everyone tells me to make the project and I've got to make it happen. So I will. So stay tuned, subscribe, stay tuned, and more episodes and updates will be coming soon. So thank you so much for watching, and let's chat actually creatively in the comments. Like, have you made a project? Have you written? Do you want to write? Like, I feel like I'm ambushing the audience with questions. They'll be like, Lottie, I'm ready to just leave this video and move on now. But like, let's chat in the comments, because it's really nice to be able to have that kind of community and conversation and support each other throughout this industry. So please do leave me a comment, and thank you so much for watching.